Welcome to the conversation. Today I'm in Hollywood. No, not California, but County Down, to meet a movie enthusiast who's been making films his whole life. For over 50 years, Colin has shot the world around him on film, tape and now digital. But what to do with a lifetime of film archive? Does it have real value? Is it worth preserving? That's what we're going to explore on The Conversation.
Hello.
Well, hello Colin, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Right, come on in.
Wow, now this is quite an incredible house. How would you describe this?
I describe it more like an Oxfam shop. That would be the exact words.
Yeah,
That's just what it's like, an Oxfam shop.
well, it's wall to wall. Oxfam shops now, are quite chic.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
quite streamlined.
Well, it's worse than an Oxfam shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is wall to wall collections. You
Collections.
are a collector. You're an obsessive collector. Let's just have a look inside here. You've very kindly invited me down today, and we're going to talk about Film Archive. But it's an incredible house.
This is just like this television program. How could anybody live in a house like this? My house is worse because I'm a collector of not just a particular item, but many items, as you can see, the whole house from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I have to say, we're in the living room here, and I would imagine that there's no seating in here for a start, Colin. You can't have a seat. Just to give you some sense of what's in here, we have videotapes, we have chessboard, we have taxidermy, we have the largest television screen I think I've ever seen.
65.
65-inch screen, which is incredible.
It's actually 3D. It's
3D?
a new Panasonic.
Wow.
That's another thing. I have always been interested in 3D from years and years back, but there was never any serious development. And you could have bought attachments years ago,
Yeah.
but they weren't much good. But now Panasonic have brought out this new technology, this new 3D, as most people know now if they go to the cinema, and they have brought out the first 3D camcorder. And there's it sitting there.
And you've
I was
bought
one
it?
of the first ones to buy it.
You've bought a 3D camcorder.
Yes.
Now, what I'm amazed about, Colin, is here we are in a house full of collections, full of antiques, junk, and yet you have the up-to-date, cutting-edge 3D TV and camera.
Well, the 3D, if you see the modern 3D, it's absolutely fantastic. And take your own movies all in 3D. Now, what about May's down the street
And that's what
for
you're
the
going
May
to
Day
do.
celebrations?
You're going to do that?
Yeah.
Movies in 3D?
Tons of people.
My word.
And
Now, speaking of which, 3D here, we have a fox
yeah,
in the living room here, a
Yeah.
fully stuffed fox. Now, where did you get him from?
cash converters in Belfast. If you go into cash converters,
Yeah.
there's everything from a needle to a steamroller on it.
But, Colin, let me ask,
Some
why would you want this in your living room, this fox? Do you like him?
because they're the fantastic way that they're done. I mean, that was a living thing at one time. It just looks. It's just like a fox sitting there.
It is.
It's so realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not only that. I mean, look at there's an owl over there.
Oh, I see the owl.
An owl, and
I've got a
there's
squirrel. I see the squirrel. My word.
And this
It's impossible to describe
this vixen here with
the articles in
with
here.
pheasant in its mouth.
Yes, there's a
Oh,
fox. There's a fox with a pheasant in its mouth as
Yes.
well here. Yeah.
That's extremely rare. There might only be the one in the world of that.
Wow. Okay, well now we're on the move here in the house. We're gonna just. It's hard actually to move in the house, though, isn't it? But I'm sure you're used to this, Colin.
I quite like the place like this, but having said that, there's days where it could, you just feel like saying, oh, my goodness, I'm going to have to get rid of half of this stuff here. But when it comes round to it, every item that I have got, I have bought it because there was a fascination, or I liked it.
Oh my God.
So I don't want to part with anything, you know. This is my problem.
You've just put your hand on a cobra snake there. Oh my God. Right. Now we're going to look at your film collection now. Is that what we're going to see?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we are. We're going up the stairs now to have a look at the...
Just watching up the stairs.
Oh, I know, I am. I'm going to be careful.
Things on either side of the stairs. I have a fascination with horror. I love that, the horror
you love
movies.
the horror movies. Yeah, there's lots of skulls and vampires and zombies and...
The old
It's a house of horror. We're just entering a room called the projection room, I see, which is a bedroom. Was a bedroom.
This used to be my 8mm cinema here.
This is your cinema room.
I had 2 sound 8mm machines up there.
Fantastic.
Right, and next door there's 2 ports. All the wiring's all underneath the floor.
So you would project from one room into the other?
And
That's
the next
fantastic.
one. And there again there's a full screen next door and a full wall.
Now again, this room here is wall to wall with stuff. There's everything in here. I see Charlie Chaplin, I see the Titanic, I see videotapes aplenty.
How's that for a collection?
Now that is a mountain of DVDs.
Do you know, I've probably a better archive of films than the BBC has.
That is incredible.
All the old stuff.
But now I'm looking at a mountain of DVDs here. Everything from the Peter Cushing collection to the B-movie DVD collection, Irish Railways. Now, Colin, a lot of these are still in the cellophane. They're unopened.
That's right.
Now, why would that be?
Because it shows how much of an interest I have in film and stuff. And sometime I'll get round to watching them.
Let me ask you this. At what age did you become interested in filmmaking?
Oh, from I was 14 onwards. I've always been interested in cameras.
Now, how come you didn't have a career in television or in cinema or filmmaking? Or how come that didn't happen for you?
Because I hadn't got the qualifications. I wrote into ITV and BBC, and the reply was you had to have so many O-levels even to get in as a trainee. Well, I had nothing. I couldn't wait to leave school, and I could have studied afterwards, but I didn't, you know, and so that was it. But now I have known projectionists in cinemas and all. I used to go to the cinema, and I loved the cinema projection booth, and I still do today. If I won the lottery tomorrow, do you know the first thing I would do? I would build, after I bought the house, I would build my own personal cinema, and I would have film shows, late night shows and all, and it would be all the old way if you could still get the equipment.
Well, there was certainly something magical about the old projection booth.
There was the arc lighting,
smoke and mirrors and light and the magic of cinema.
The lighting, I think, from the arc from the carbon rods was much brighter on the screen than I think with these lamps, you know.
As well as everything else in this house, Colin also has a vast personal film archive, one that he has shot over the last 50 years, and he keeps it in this extraordinary cabinet.
Well, that's just part. There's a mixture of other things in among it. You can see yourself, everything's all well marked, which you have to.
Well, that's excellent that you have it all well marked. We have Community Carnival here. We have, there's the demolition of the West Green Flats. We have Beaver Park. We have drawers and drawers of DVDs and cassettes. Now I see a DVD here which is called Hooray for Hollywood, and obviously we're not in Hollywood, California. We're in Holywood, County Down.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to go to the Hollywood, California, Colin?
No, I would like to, but I'm afraid for me airplanes are a no-no. That's what stopped me from going anywhere, because I am one of these people who I just wouldn't go in an airplane. I think it's a claustrophobia. you would have to knock me out, you know. But,
Like Mr. T.
yeah, knock me out and just arrive there. There's mountains of stuff here of 8mm DVD cassettes.
Mountains is right. I mean, people
Well,
overuse that, but this is seriously mountains. It's incredible. Yeah, but I'm very impressed because you have this all catalogued.
Transport museum, look.
You have the
You know?
dates on it. You have
Yeah.
everything. So I mean, it's beautifully archived. I mean, this is ready just to be transported somewhere. That's for sure. Now we're going to get to see one of the films that you've shot.
Well, I was taken in Beaver Park, one of my favourite spots. It's so beautiful over there, and in the summertime, all the wild flowers along by the riverbank and all. You would just feel like getting a wee tent and just living there for a few days, you know. No, I love the beauty of nature, and I love trees. Just shows you how I put things together.
Is that you in the film?
Yeah, I do that quite a lot.
Oh.
See, the camera was on a tripod and it was running. I faded in and walked in. You wouldn't know. You can't do an awful lot of things like stopping the camera and waiting to film back, and you think you have a cameraman with you.
You do? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You're like a one-man Alfred Hitchcock.
Ah,
Appearing in your own films.
no, it's just.
What we're
So-
watching at the moment is a shot of the bend in the river Lagan at Beaver Forest Park. It's quite a beautiful shot. It's a long shot. You're up on high looking right down on the riverbank. There's a couple walking off in the distance, and there's a couple just sitting in the grass there and a dog playing around. I mean, this is a shot that is minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes long, just one single shot. I can imagine this in an art gallery. I could imagine this as an installation piece. You know, this is beyond filmmaking. This to me feels like video art.
Well, I don't normally do this all the time. It was just on that particular occasion. It's not just all long shots like this here.
Now, if you can hear snoring on this, it's actually Pooch, your dog, is falling
Yeah.
asleep here watching the film. He's very relaxed
Yeah.
here.
Isn't that nice?
That's very nice. This is you sitting by the riverbank here, looking off into the distance. You look a bit like J.R.R. Hartley there,
Yeah, that's right.
but you don't have a fishing rod.
But it's nice to have. It just reminds me of if anything happens to this dog of mine. Look, you have all this footage, you know, of the good times, you know, which would probably break your heart, like, you know, because I'm very fond of that old dog, you know.
This is the kind of TV that I would like to watch in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
You know, put this
Yes.
on, a
Yeah.
cold dark night, put that
Yeah.
on and make you realise that life
Yeah.
isn't so miserable and terrible, and
I know.
summer will come back.
I mean, naturally enough, the quality's going to be better with using a better camera equipment in the recent years than the old. But even having said that, a lot of the older stuff is still good because I still always had good cameras and stuff and all.
Absolutely, and now you'll be shooting in 3D.
You know? Aye, that's right.
That'll be quite incredible. Now, shall we go downstairs again?
Yeah. There's an attic up here, but this is bad.
Aye. We probably don't want to
We
go
don't
there,
want
do
to
we?
go up there.
No, I think that's... You certainly need, Colin, you certainly need a bigger house. There's no question about that. But if you had a bigger house, you'd probably fill that as well.
But there's some nice things around. I mean, look,
Yeah.
see these pictures.
There's some beautiful Laurel and Hardy pictures. I've seen King Kong. Now, let's go through into here maybe. Hello, pup. Now, people don't really value amateur film or amateur filmmakers, and I wonder how you feel about that.
Probably because people think the stuff maybe produced is inferior. Now, some of it is rubbish. It depends what way you use a camera and all too. I mean, there's people who pans a camera around and it's all over the place and zooming in and out and all. All my stuff is just as nearly as good as you would get from the BBC. I try to do my best to try to get the best results, you know. I would plan a thing out in my mind.
Give me a sense then of how much over the years, how much film would you have shot over the years? How much videotape do you have?
Oh my goodness. There's an awful lot of it would be personal, you know, the family and the children growing up and what have you. But there's also various places I've went to. There's drawers full of DVD cassettes, 8mm cassettes. It's hard to say in hours. You know, there's a lot.
A lifetime of stuff.
A lot. And then there's cans of 8mm film laying up there.
What happens most times is that obviously this vast collection of material that you have here would pass on to your children. Now, is that your plan? Is that what's going to happen? Or
I was married and I'm separated and divorced. All my children have grown up. It's not so much the family stuff, naturally enough, would go to them, but it's all the other stuff. It's a shame it all lying up there in drawers. Well, I just feel it's good enough. There's an awful lot of good stuff that could be used, you know. In my view, maybe it's good, but in your view, you know, would it be worthwhile?
one of the big questions as well is the preservation of this material, because the worst thing that can happen, and I've seen this quite a lot, is that film and videotape is just thrown on the rubbish dumps and gone and lost forever. And you hear these stories of families who have just thrown the whole lot out, and that's a terrible, terrible shame.
It is, because that would be one of the a dread. That would be one of the worst things that could happen, because there could be magical things, there could be nostalgic stuff and all the rest of it all gone. Like,
we don't have a film archive in Northern Ireland. We don't have a place where you could take this film and say, hey, please look after this for me and kind of preserve it. And I think that is a great shame that we don't have that.
But all I know is there's drawers of stuff lying up there, and just what's going to become of it, you know.
Colin, it's been a real pleasure to be here in your house to look at your collection, and I know we've highlighted quite a serious point today, which is, you know, what are we going to do with Film Archive and with personal film archive that's out there. So thanks very much for spending time with us today.
Thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to meet you.